Hello, everyone. This is Shania Richardson of She Rich Educational Consulting with blog number 17, Connecting Shakespeare, the Bible, and Common Core State Standards. So, what's up, everybody? I am super excited about today's blog because it involves three of my favorite topics. That is Shakespeare, the Bible, and Common Core Standards. I'm going to provide a thematic lesson plan that will integrate all three. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. You're probably saying, Miss Richardson, we cannot teach religion in the classroom. But, I got something for that. We're not teaching religion, we're teaching historical accounts. Now, whether you believe in Christianity or not, the Bible provides accounts of customs and traditions of the past. According to Dennis Leap of The Trumpet, archaeologists have discovered artifacts that support the existence of landmarks, monarchs, and ancient civilizations. For example, during Napoleon's 1799 expedition, Rosetta Stone was resurfaced. The interpretation of the Behistun inscription in the 19th century confirmed that location and the existence of the Fertile Crescent, also known to be a reference point along the Nile River, is an actual place. The inscriptions further reveal some truth regarding biblical accounts regarding the existence of the Garden of Eden, the Babylonian Tower, the Great Flood, and the list goes on. Also, the Bible is the most widely read book of all times. The Guinness World Book of Records estimate that more than 5 billion copies have been printed since 2015. And maybe you're still like, "Nuh-uh, Miss Richardson, I don't believe the Bible is real or that the accounts are accurate and true." So be it. The purpose of this blog is not to convince you of its validity, but give you food for thought and expound on your literary stamina. If this is your belief that the Bible is not real, then treat the Bible as you would any other piece of literature. A point of value can most certainly be extracted from any context of information, whether it appeals to your sense of agreement or not. So just keep an open mind. But here's a quick disclaimer. While the lessons provided today is for academic purpose, don't resist the urge to become a better version of yourself if the research leads you into a deeper enlightenment. Now, we spoke about the Bible. We got that elephant out of the room. So let's discuss Common Core ELA Literacy Standards 9 through 12, which require that students analyze how an author draws on a transformed source of material in a specific work. For example, how Shakespeare treats a theme or topic from Ovid or the Bible. There it is, right there, Common Core State Standards. So here is your green light to use biblical references. The next additive is Shakespeare. The text I will be speaking on today is Othello. My ninth grade students went crazy over this story. They loved it, and I loved teaching it. It was like the shade, child, the shade. and somebody called Tyrone, and bye Felicia, all rolled into one. I chose this lesson because I also believe that it is highly relevant for these trying times of racial sensitivity and injustice. The fact that Shakespeare spoke on this very issue many years ago is astounding. Yet, what is disturbing is the ideal that such a barbaric mentality ceases to exist in modern times today. Stay woke, y'all, is all I'm saying. Moving forward, my students were so engaged that they renamed the characters in the Othello play. I thought that it was such an innovative and student-centered way to teach that I just rolled with it, and it turned out to be a great idea. So I will introduce the characters by what my kids call their government names and share the nicknames given by the students. Othello was Big O, Desdemona was Desi, Iago was Iggy, Rodrigo was Rod, Brabantino was Big Ben, and Cassio was Cassius. Now, the thematic focus is jealousy. With this plan, day 1 and day 2 will consist of processing Othello. Students will perform a close read and make connections. Day 3 will be a close read of Genesis chapters 37 through 50. Days 4 and 5 will connect the reading tasks of days 1 through 3 to form an argumentative essay. So, day 1 lesson plans will start with the hook, which is to analyze this scripture. For where there is jealousy and fighting, there is confusion in every evil work. What does this mean to you? Use your own words. Support your ideas with specific examples. And that is the task for the students. Then you will have your do now. The students will turn and talk to their shoulder partners about their response and about their interpretation of this scripture or this quote. In the introduction, the students will solo and silently read the plot summary of Othello, which this resource can be found on my website. Now, the reading task is to connect the biblical scripture provided in the hook to the biblical text and provide 5 specific examples of how Iago, Iggy, and Othello, Big O's jealousy became an evil work. Be sure to cite paragraph numbers. Those are the student directives. So the guided practice is to read the acts and scenes in intervals. Now, this may take up to 2 days. The readings should be assigned in segments, with the reading task to annotate evidence that supports Iago or Iggy's patterns of jealousy in Act 1 and Act 2 and Act 3. In Act 1 and Act 2. In Act 3, annotate evidence that reveals Iago's intent to sabotage Othello. In Act 4, annotate evidence that reveals Othello's insecurities despite his powerful stature. In Act 5, annotate evidence that supports the thematic quote provided in the hook. All right. So, as the teacher, and if you have been following my blogs, you know that you always pre-work the materials that you're going to give to your students. So you will provide an exemplar of key information to be noted. That way, your students will be able to know whether or not they got the right idea, and if they don't, then it puts them in the right direction. So, for the independent practice, the students will delineate 10 key points that demonstrate Yago or Iggy's character. Who is he as a person? And list evidence in the graphic organizer. Students will do the same for Othello. On day 3, your lesson will move into the biblical text, starting with the hook. What is the moral of Othello? What can be learned from this text? Then you move forward to your do now. You're going to, as a student, reflect on Othello reading and the biblical quote from the hook on the day before. And you are going to list the fruits of jealousy, at least 5. What problems can jealousy cause? List your key ideas in support with specific examples from the text. So then you will move into your introduction, which will be a 3-minute video clip from the movie Joseph, King of Dreams. And this link is also in the teacher toolbox. The viewing task is to pretend that you are Joseph, students. What if your family had treated you the way Joseph had been treated? How would you feel? And then have your students talk about it and share the information. Then you will move into the guided practice, which the student will read Genesis chapters 37 through 50, the New International Version. The reading task will be to annotate evidence that supports Joseph's brothers' motive for jealousy. Why were the brothers jealous? What did jealousy cause them to do? The teacher will provide a pre-annotated work to ensure that the students have gathered all key information. Conclusion of the reading test involve a selection of one of the following things. If you had to choose, students, a thematic title for this Bible passage, what would it be? A. Sometimes your haters can be your own family members. B. Be careful who you mistreat because you may need them one day. C. Jealous is a dangerous emotion. D. People cannot destroy your destiny. E. If you do good, you will be rewarded. F. How you start off in life is not necessarily how you may end up. And the students will choose from one of those to basically rename the scriptures. Okay, so in the independent practice portion, you're going to have the students again reflect on that same scripture that's being used in the hook. When there is jealousy and fighting, there is confusion in every work of evil. Students will organize a 6 to 8 paragraph argument supporting this quote. They will use at least 2 examples from Othello and 2 specific examples from the Bible passage. They will use these examples to argue why jealousy is an emotion that needs to be controlled. And they will use the inspiration for the thematic title that they use for the Joseph story to sustain the argument. Now, day 4 and 5 are what I call write days. So day 4 is organization and rough draft. Day 5 is the final draft. And basically, that's all, folks. Now, if you want the lesson plans, the graphic organizers, the links to the videos, visit my website by hitting the link to the teacher toolbox in the comment description tab. Don't forget to like and share, you guys. And I'll see you next Sunday with another dose of inclusive and diversified classroom management 101. Bye now.